Hello and welcome to the Gambling Files podcast, the podcast that's trying something a little bit different today. Not sexually, but in terms of the actual podcast recording. I'm one of your hosts, John Bruford, joined by your other host, Fintan Costello. Fintan, hello.
Hello, John.
Fintan, something I wanted to bring up in a public forum is the topless photos you've been sending me.
You told me to.
You just said it was a before and after. You didn't say there'd be nipples involved. I've sent them on to one of the agricultural colleges anyway.
Beef. Prime Irish beef.
I was thinking of udders, but yours works too. No, but in all seriousness, we are trying something different today, but we'll come on to that in a little while. Anybody that's watching the video might notice that I look older today, possibly more mature, wiser. It's because you can see the lines around my eyes now because I'm not wearing glasses. I'm test driving some new contact lenses today.
What were they like putting them in? I've never used contacts.
It's fine. I mean, it's a bit weird when you first do it, but I mean, I first did it 30 years ago, so it's not such a big deal.
When you take them out?
Also fine. It's actually quite a nice relief when you take them out. Because you kind of you get this sort of blast of air to your eyeball. It's actually quite nice. Okay. But so these are I don't know if this is the technical term for them, right? But I was having an eye test a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, "So you get contact lenses from us? How'd you get on with those?" I said, "Look, I don't wear them very much." And I said, "Oh, why is that? Do you not get on with them?" "No, I get on with them okay." And I said, "But I tend to wear them when I'm exercising." And I was going to follow that with, "And I hardly ever exercise." But I didn't. Yeah, I think
that was understood.
My ruddy complexion betrayed me. The sounds I make as I stand up. But
just the general wheezing.
She was no athletes wheeze. Paula Radcliffe famously has exercise-induced asthma. Anyway. So
I'll have that so they can get on the inhalers. I'll follow for that.
I would no very few claim to have it.
All the cyclists have it.
Yeah, now that is bullshit. But anyway, so I was like, yeah, if I'm out like running, because I remember doing that years ago, I wouldn't be able to like read my watch. I'd have to take the watch off and hold it as far away as I can to read it. They'd be like, "Why, we could do something about that." And what they've given me is it's the equivalent of, I guess, bifocal contact lenses.
Oh, no way.
I have those in right now as well.
Okay. Did it take you a little while to get used to them? Hang on, you shouldn't even be talking yet. We haven't introduced you.
Let him talk.
Okay, but I'm not going to tell anybody who it is.
He's just sitting.
We're watching a video. We'll be able to see anyway.
No.
Exactly.
No, because I'm going to blank out. I'm going to blank out your name. But did it take you a little while, do you remember, to get used to them?
The bifocals, not really. But it took me a while to get used to putting contact. But again, it's going back years and years. So now I could do it without looking in a mirror and take them out. Daily it's disposable. So it becomes very easy when you get used to it. But initially, it's a bit of a faff, isn't it?
Well, so I put these in this morning. I've never worn anything like these before. And it is a bit odd because one eye, the prescription is slightly stronger, and the other eye, the prescription is slightly weaker. So one is for distance and one is for close up. So if I really want to read something, I just go.
Really? That's not bifocal. They've just given you two different lenses.
Yeah, but well, what's a bifocal pair of glasses? It's glasses with two lenses in one.
It's two lenses in one, yeah. It's not like close your left eye so you can use your right.
Yeah, but Fintan, I don't know if you're familiar with how contact lenses work, but the contact part means they're actually in contact with your eyes.
I got that.
Right.
You're the one who said they were bifocals, not me.
It's the contact lens equivalent of a bifocal.
I think you've been ripped off.
So, but the thing is,
you've got bifocals. Are yours? Would you have to close your left eye to see far away?
No, I'm getting to that part, Fintan. As your brain adjusts to wearing these, it makes the calculation for you. So you don't have to shut your eye or anything. It will just go, oh, we need to read something close
I'm
up.
just reading Jeevan's body language here, and I'm just calling bullshit. No.
Let's mostly
Depends how
use this
strong
one.
the issue is, right? So my issue may not be as strong as John's, in which case the difference may not be as...
This is just how it was explained to me by the optician this morning. The expert, let's call them. And so what I'm finding is I can sit here and work in contact lenses, which I wouldn't have been able to do before. It was a little bit freaky driving home, but I had baby Al in the car with me. And I'm like, so Al, I've never worn lenses like these before. I'll try not to kill us. And he just did his usual. He just went, okay, and jumped in the car. It's like, you're not listening, are you? Okay. Thanks. But anyway, I didn't kill us, so that went well. So yeah, it's very different to how normal contact lenses work anyway, and it's taking a tiny bit of adjustment. So there you go. Who knows? Maybe I'll exercise.
There's that science experiment that if they put the lenses on that like flips the images, your brain after a while will actually rotate everything the right way around again.
Yeah, the brain is powerful. I met a young lady back in the day, who had a I think it's called a hemiectomy, which is removal of half the brain. And this isn't a joke, it's a real operation. That it's given to children who have extreme epilepsy, as in they are having hundreds of seizures a day.
Wow.
Because they're young and there's an elasticity to the brain. They can quite literally remove half the brain and the brain adjusts and learns how to just. And you wouldn't have known at all. You would not have known any difference in this kid whatsoever. And she would have been about 10 when I met her, I think. She was just a regular kid.
So does that tell you how much of the brain we don't use?
Yes, it does. But how incredibly adaptable and flexible the brain is extraordinary. I mean, that is an extreme example. We are talking about kids who will have 300 odd seizures a day. And so it needs an extreme reaction to it. But I mean, can you imagine being the surgeon that proposed that? Lads, I've got an idea.
Yeah, but back when they would have figured this out, it was like they were doing all sorts, right?
You come closer to your mic.
So, back when they were figuring this out, they'd have been doing all sorts when it came to surgery. Like there was a point where there was no like ethics board.
It almost certainly happened in America as well.
I don't know. London was pretty fucking brutal for this stuff.
No, this wasn't like hundreds of years ago, Fintan. This is a relatively recent. But even allowing for when surgery was the Wild West, this is still pretty extreme. Lads, bear with me. I've got an idea. Let's see if this works.
Hold them down.
Can you imagine proposing that and just being, yeah, it'll be fine. What's the worst that can happen? So anyway, wearing new contact lenses so I look old. Because now you can see the skin around my eyes and it looks like an old man's ball bag. So Fintan, in an entirely unrelated note, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about this podcast episode's sponsors.
Absolutely. So one of our
now, nice and close to your microphone. I'm fed up of coaching people. It's
How
terrible.
am I not close enough? Jesus.
It's not that you're not close enough. It's just that I see how this comes out when I'm producing.
Oh, okay.
Producing.
Producing. When he hits export.
Just be careful. I'm going to send you loads of before photos.
One of our lovely sponsors is OptiMove.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to learn how positionalist marketing is changing how iGaming teams operate,
I would like to learn that.
then you need to head to optimove.com.
Hang on, I'll just make a note.
Where you will...
Hold on. How do you spell that?
optimove.com.
.com. Gotcha.
Where you're going to learn about personalized marketing, dynamically changing casino lobbies and bet slips, and how you can create engaged, gamified experiences.
I need to learn those things.
I think everybody does. The other key thing is they've got a great event coming up in March, March 11th and 12th, OptiMove Connect.
Will there be sandwiches?
There will be, I'm sure there's sandwiches. I'm sure there'll be wonderful catering.
I'm in.
Wonderful catering. It's a conference for marketers from around the world where they're going to share real-time results of their positionless marketing and how it's driving efficiencies and ROI. And you can register at connect.optimove.com.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
I think so.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. You're interested in marketing and stuff, aren't you? It's like
I'm a cut me in half and it just says marketing nerd. That's it.
Does it though?
Does.
What if we cut your brain in half?
Yeah.
You wouldn't notice the difference. You got to get through the hair first.
It would adapt.
It's like a helmet.
With the hair, we could probably take 3/4 of your brain because I've got a feeling that the hair is connected to it all.
Absolutely. It's all interlinked.
You're like one of the Titans.
Who else do you have as a sponsor, John?
Hang on a second, Fintan. If Medusa had all snaky hair, did that mean she had like little snaky eyebrows and eyelashes?
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
No, but I had to keep it clean. I mean, I was thinking what you were suggesting there, but I decided to phrase it in a slightly different way. Because that's certainly never been tackled in any of the swords and sandals, Greek myth movies. Yeah. I'm thinking really Clash of the Titans, which is probably the best ever representation of Medusa on screen. But anyway, you two are both probably too young to remember that. Golden age of cinema. Golden age of cinema, my arse. It was like 1982 and it was terrible. That's really bad. Anyway, that's by the by. Fintan, here's a question for you.
Go on.
Could you name a world-class testing, inspections and certification company?
I could.
Go on then. GLI.
GLI.
Do you know what GLI stands for? Not in terms of principles, the actual letters.
Gaming Laboratories International?
International, yes, because the international part is important. I'll come to that in a moment. Do you know what they're committed to delivering?
It'll be excellent, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. It's the highest quality land-based lottery and iGaming testing and assessment services around the world. Hence the international. But do you know just how international, Fintan? Let me take you back a step. Here. GLI provides suppliers, operators and regulators with expert guidance for navigating the future of gaming and ensuring gaming innovations meet regulatory standards with confidence in more than 710 jurisdictions. It's a lot of jurisdictions, Fintan.
Jesus Christ. That is a lot. A lot of jurisdictions. More really jurisdictions than countries, which we figured out last week.
We did. But also worth noting, I don't know if you want to make a note of this, but if you want more information, visit gaminglabs.com. Mm-hmm. It's a nice, easy one.
Gaming Labs.
GAMINGLABS.com. Got it?
Nailed it.
You have to go there now.
No, you got to listen to this first.
Listen to what?
This wonderful podcast.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Wonderful guest.
Yeah, so I thought you were going to play me something. You got to listen to this first. Okay, well, what are you going to play? I did hear a joke, but I'll save that until the end. Oh, no, actually, it's probably not a joke that's suitable for the podcast, thinking about it. But anyway, right, here's something for you. We've got a guest this episode.
We do?
Yeah. He has been talking already, thanks to you. Let him speak. Like, that's what he's here for.
We definitely need to refine this intro. process. Yeah, sure. I've got some notes.
So that is the new thing that we're trying this episode. We're trying to do the intro with the guest here, just to see how it goes. So far, I think I can call it a partial success. A partial success, like hand grenade proof underpants.
This is what happens when you introduce a new idea to John, where he'll kind of embrace it, but also try and drag it back to what it used to be. So he hasn't quite adapted to like. We'll do the intro with the guest, and we'll do the exact same intro we'd have done if the guest wasn't here. Perfect.
Yeah. It's an evolution, Fintan.
Thanks for being the guinea pig.
It happens gradually. It's an evolution. We don't just have far-reaching change suddenly. I'm a middle-aged man, Fintan. We don't do that. We don't do that.
So who's our guest, John?
It's a great question, Fintan. I'm glad you asked me that. We are. Do you want to make a note? I'm going to have to spell his name out for you.
Yeah.
We're joined by a friend of the podcast, returning podcast guest, although it was probably 3 years ago you were on.
At least.
No way, that long?
Yeah, easy. Maybe 3.5. It was early doors sort of guest, first year, I think. Jeevan Jeyaratnam. Do you want me to spell that, Fintan?
Jeyaratnam.
That's what I said.
There's no Jerry in J.
I didn't say Jerry. I said Jeyaratnam.
Listen to it back.
We'll roll back the tape.
No,
for fuck's sake.
I think it might have been a little glitch in the audio that Jeevan Jeyaratnam was getting there. That's the only possible explanation.
It's a common error.
But I swear I could. Oh, Fintan's making notes. Damn it. Jeevan, when you came on before, you were with Abelson. Are you still with Abelson?
I am. Abelson Sports. We've rebranded. We've lost the info and gained the sports.
Oh, okay. Well, that's much clearer.
It is clearer, yeah.
For listeners who may be newer to us, what's the bread and butter of Abelson?
Bread and butter is player prop markets for football or soccer, the other side of the pond. And that's the predominant product we sell, football player markets. So we do goal scorers, cards, shots, tackles, offsides, those kind of things for players in football matches on a very wide scale, coverage across the globe.
Okay. I have got a question. Well, I've got more than one.
We're all waiting for it.
No, I'm just having one of those moments where I just think, shall I start with the big questions or not? So, no, I'm not going to do that. You were one of our judges and our guest at the Gambling Book Awards.
I was.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because I sent the books quite late, and so you had to read all the books.
Really?
In
Doesn't sound like you, John.
Yeah, that was a real challenge. To be honest, I've told people that was my biggest achievement of 2025 was actually reading all of the books cover to cover in the month that you allowed for us to do so.
Well, there were a couple of really, really thick books that were in the long list, so let's just be thankful that they didn't come.
Very thankful. That would have been a real push.
Because there were luckily a couple of quite short ones in there. Yeah, we were really pleased to have you on board. Because what we were trying to do when we were thinking of the panel of judges was to get breadth of experience. And so you ticked a couple of nice boxes in breadth.
Yeah.
So that was nice. It was like, have they got breadth of experience? Yes. Can he read? Probably. Sign him up.
Tick, tick. Yeah.
Can he read fast? Most likely.
Can now.
Perfect. I'm just going to send him an audiobook next time.
No, I'd much rather actually have the book in front of me. To be honest, it was an honour to be asked, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a really good good thing to go to as well, the evening, and meet some of the other judges and sit by the authors. Good.
Sorry about that. That was a little alarm to remind me to pay for Al's after school club, which I've still forgotten to do. So, no, we were very, very grateful. And Fintan, of course, famously could not be there.
Couldn't make it. Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah, no, we were all gutted, weren't we, Jeevan?
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. Shame.
Oh no, I was kidding.
No, I realised you were, because but you were quite. You said it was a lot of work for you on your own.
Oh.
Did I?
Oh.
Carrying all those books and trophies.
Oh, you're carrying stuff. That's different. Plus, I was bleeding on the night, and I don't mean bleeding awful. I was putting up a roller banner, and I managed to cut my hand in a couple of places, and there's just fucking blood everywhere. It was really funny. It was one of those ones where I saw the one cut. I'm like, oh no, I'm bleeding. I better get that sorted out. But there was another cut that was bleeding far more that I hadn't noticed. It was quite funny. It made me laugh. Anyway, it's by the by. But it was a very fun evening. Lots of lovely people. We had 2 tables who were, reasonably well behaved, I think.
Boo. We don't want reasonably well behaved.
I got to go up on stage and say, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking.
Well, hey.
That is honestly a bucket list moment achieved. Very, very pleased with that. I always promised myself I would. Because obviously nobody's going to give me a best man speech or anything to do, because nobody's that stupid. So I grabbed this opportunity to say, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. I'm just kidding. It's like when I say, about my humble opinion. It's not humble. It's not humble opinion. So, Jeevan, what we wanted to talk to you about is, because we're sort of looking ahead. I mean, I know it's only February, but operators are all looking ahead to, a substantial summer of sport. And obviously, the sports in Abelson Sports, we were thinking maybe Jeevan fancies talking a bit about some sports. Is when you go, I mean, you said you're worldwide. Is the Super Bowl a big one for you?
No, because we just do football.
Totally just football. That's interesting. That's particularly interesting.
Yeah.
But sorry,
there is a side of the business that does fixtures and results for a load of sports. But if we're talking predominantly about odds and stuff like that, then it's just football.
Okay. So me and Fintan were talking. I think it was last week. We were talking, and because he's long been critical of my thoughts that this World Cup is going to be a really big deal. It's going to be the biggest because it's going to have the biggest impact in North America that any World Cup has had. And Fintan has poo-pooed that in no uncertain terms. Isn't that right, Fintan?
I just don't think the Americans are going to care.
Closer to your microphone, Fintan.
I don't agree with that. I think they do care, and we've seen evidence of North American interest from operators over there in terms of numbers and engagement, and it is growing. I guess it depends on what you are comparing it to. If you're comparing it to a full NFL season, then yes, you're not going to get that kind of engagement or those kind of numbers. But in terms of a product and what I think the US operators are expecting to happen, it's going to be a really big deal. We've had 2 World Cups since PASPA was repealed. I think 2018 Qatar. 2018, there were 3 states that had legalised online sports betting. And then 2022, sorry, that was Qatar, wasn't it? 2018 was Russia. 2022, there were 31 states plus DC that had got legal sports betting. And now
we've got 50.
39. Well, not betting.
No, it's
We're
not.
at 39 plus DC and Puerto Rico. So we've got the biggest exposure of any World Cup ever, and it's in North America, right? So
Yeah. Plus, their league has matured. And they've got some proper superstars playing in the league. But also, I think, you mentioned like it won't have the same impact as a full NFL season. But I think it's worth pointing out that an awful lot of North American sports have very short seasons.
True.
And football, football in the UK has, 8-month season? Something like that? Is it August to April, isn't it? No, August to May, actually. Sorry. And that's massively different. Plus, we have promotion and relegation, which they definitely don't. So it is very different. But Fintan, right? So when Leicester City won the Premier League, you remember that season, Fintan?
2013.
Okay, so I was in Vegas, and I know I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. I was in Vegas, and I had terrible jet lag, but I also knew that there was a game kicking off. Can't remember what the game was. It was a Chelsea game. So I'm up and about. It's like 2:00 in the morning or whatever it is, or 4:00 in the morning. And I could not find anywhere showing the game. Like no sports books that were anywhere near me seemed to be showing the game. But I'm walking down this corridor in some hotel, and I see a TV, which is nowhere near anywhere. It's got some seating around it. Nothing around it is open. And this TV is just showing the game. So I sit down and start watching. Great. And bit by bit, loads of Americans come and start sitting around me. And they start chatting. And once they hear that I'm English, they're full of questions. Now, 2013, Fintan, they're full of questions and great knowledge, depth of knowledge. It's like speaking to a British football fan. Because we are British people, we are quite snobby about our football knowledge. These guys, they really knew their stuff, and they were really, it was the Leicester story that had completely grabbed them. Everybody said the same. Do you think Leicester can do it? Do you think they can do it? And it's like when you get a little story like that, it captivates people all around the world because it's proper underdog. It's not an underdog story with a lucky punch. It's not an underdog story where there's two people slugging it out and one of them might be able to knock out the other one. It's like over a 38-game season, 8-9 months of season, and it was an incredible story. But it had a huge impact. It's also something
that you don't really get in the US because of the way the draft system works there. So teams that are poor end up being able to draft first the best players from college. So they try to even the field. I mean, if you look at this year's Super Bowl, the Patriots have been dreadful for the last couple of years, and they've made the Super Bowl this year. So I think you're right, and the underdog side of it really resonates because it's just not something they get in their own main sports.
No, that's a great point. That's a great point because they have that leveler of draft picks and being able to trade their draft picks and all of that, and
salary caps.
Yeah, it's incredible. I wonder what would happen if one of the Gulf countries maybe decided to start using the same sport without a salary cap. I might have just implanted an idea in somebody. We're going to have Saudi Arabian American football.
It's live golf, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. But imagine it in one of their sports with salary caps. They'd come running. Fintan, I've had an idea.
We just need an oil well.
Yeah, basically. That's where we need to begin.
If we've got an oil well, there's better ways we can spend that money. But like when you look at, I suppose it'd be great to get Jeevan's perspective because obviously I look at stuff like this from a marketing, acquiring new customers perspective, and obviously, Jeevan, you'd see it more from just like day-to-day trading. So typically, the shape of a World Cup would be big, like from an acquisition perspective, would be big opening weekend, and then every time the home team plays, there's a spike. That spike kind of trends downwards until the team gets knocked out, then it's kind of like a much lower level of activity, and then there's a final spike for the finals. From a like, how far is the US team going to get? Because you could really imagine it from a US perspective as well. Like, okay, if Team USA is kicking ass and taking names, the way the women's team would, like you could see a lot of interest. But if they get knocked out at some point, people stop caring, and they're not really going to switch to another country. How far do you reckon the US is going to get?
So, firstly, there's not just one host in this instance. We've got 3 hosts. So, the impact in Mexico will be massive as well.
Yeah, true.
And then, to a certain degree in Canada as well, there'll be huge interest. But yeah, to your point of how successful will the main host nation, and we say main because they've got the most venues in the USA, you can back them at 80-1 to win the tournament. So they're not overly fancied to progress too deep, but the format and the new format, which is much maligned and obviously a completely commercial decision from FIFA to expand the competition to 48 teams, means that actually, after all of the group stage games, we're actually only going to lose the bottom 16 teams. So there's a very high chance that USA and Mexico will make it into knockout football, and there's a chance there that they will get a draw that's more than winnable to last. So you could argue you'd fancy them to move on to the second stage of knockout football, last 16s, at which point the attention will be significant, and I would think that trajectory would carry on through, regardless of their performance. Obviously, if the ideal result for US operators would be USA to lose in the final, but regardless of how far they do go, and host nations do have a good record in the competition, there will be significant interest through the group stage into the knockouts, deep into the knockout stages, in my opinion. And then you'd imagine that because John mentions the MLS is improved in strength. There's a lot of Latin players in the MLS, and those Latin teams are fancied to do quite well in the World Cup. And I think that interest, naturally will flow through right through to the final. I do think it will be.
Got it. Okay.
One of the biggest things we've ever seen.
And then I suppose if they get through to the knockout stages, that really suits. Americans are very used to playoffs, and this is a common format and stuff, so it'll feel very comfortable.
It's a common format, but the one thing that the US audience isn't used to is the concept of extra time, and I'm talking from a betting point of view, the concept of extra time where your wager has effectively ended already.
Oh, okay.
So I think we'll see in the US, for the US books, there'll be markets in the knockout stages whereby from pre-match extra time is included already. So you get that kick on of what they call overtime, and your bet still continues through, as well as opening new markets in extra time. So that'll be a significant difference from what a European audience would see.
Got it. And then that makes a lot of sense. And then from a player props perspective, because obviously player props are huge in America. From your perspective, with 48 teams, that obviously that's a lot more players. It's a lot more data. And it's from I think particularly the way some of the qualifiers and stuff have worked out. You got a lot more smaller teams who wouldn't normally be World Cup contention and stuff like that. How does that how do you manage that? What happens?
So it's a good point. If we look at the opening round of group games, I think Germany are playing Curacao, and Germany are 1-50, or 102 to win that. So that's expecting them to be about 4 goals superior. But Curacao have made the World Cup, but their players are predominantly brought up in Holland, or played football in Holland second division. So there's plenty of information for someone like Curacao, for the players through there, especially if you studied the Dutch leagues. The more difficult ones will be like Haiti, New Caledonia should they squeeze through the final qualification, or but there's generally plenty of data around, and the much weaker teams or perceived weaker teams will you'll struggle to find certain amounts of data, but also they won't necessarily be a popular choice with the punters either, right? So Germany are playing Curacao. Let's be honest, most of the money is going German players. So whilst we need to research every player, we need to understand every player's influence, because there will be sharps looking to get on the other side of that idea. The vast majority, and certainly recreational money, will be on those household names, and we do see that. Regardless, even week in week out in the European leagues, the vast majority of money is on a couple of dozen players that are household names.
Got it.
Especially if you've got a strong recreational book of customers. Got
it. Because I think kind of the betting patterns was kind of the next thing, because obviously the time zone is the matches are being it's very friendly for North America. Mm-hmm. It's not friendly, say, for Europe for most of the games. Does that change betting patterns?
The kickoff times, whilst some of them aren't friendly at all for European audiences, there are quite a few that are. I think the earliest kickoff in the group stage is like 6 p.m. UK. Okay. Which is primed, between 6, then you've got 8, and you've got a 9 o'clock, and then maybe an 11 o'clock, and then you've got a couple in the wee hours. But the kickoffs aren't as bad as I think we think they are going to be for the UK audience. And, there are, at that time of year in the UK and Europe, contrasting to right now, there'll be lighter nights, people will be out anyway, so they come home, the game's kicking off at 11, 9, 10, 11, whatever. It's not a disaster. And it works really well for, obviously, the Americas.
For sure.
America as well. So I'm not too concerned about the kickoffs having a too negative an impact on Western audiences. And we've got an additional load of games this time, so that there's only so much money to go around, you'd argue, but the money can be spread a little thin. I think the harder point is, how do we engage customers in some of the weaker matchups? So there's going to be some dead rubbers there with teams that you would not be sat on a Saturday night watching two teams play, but World Cup people are interested. So how do the operators engage audiences with teams that they're not so familiar with? And I think one of the things that the operators have started to become very good at is building narratives. And if you can build a narrative around a game and tell a story, and then combine, and then sort of sew that story into an actionable bet builder, I think that's the kind of thing you'll be seeing from operators to attract people and engage people for games that they wouldn't normally sit and watch.
And how would they build that narrative? Like, how would it, like, obviously, I understand how they'd build a narrative, but how would they communicate that to a punter?
So, and I mean, Bet365 has started doing this on their front page. So every game in Premier League, say, for Bet365, they'll have a pre-canned bet builder, or SGP, and they'll title it some sort of title that's connected to the content of the bet builder, and that will begin to tell a tale that maybe is been sort of espoused in the media. So, for example, Tottenham, Christian Romero, who's serving a suspension, it'll be him for a card. Mickey van der Ven to, win a tackle or something like that, and Solanke to have 2+ shots, and that sort of tells that's the kind of stuff that people are hearing about in the media. That's kind of the reporting on Spurs is about indiscipline with the captain and stuff like that. So those kind of things. But what you'll see for the World Cup, because there's more time and there's essentially fewer matches than a Premier League season, you'll have, and this is where content comes into it, and I think, Fintan, this is interesting for you because it's a marketing point of view. You'll have actual written pieces within the splash page of the World Cup saying, this is happening, this match is happening, Haiti are playing here, Haiti's number 9 plays here, he's done this, this and this. Germany are playing Curacao, Germany's midfield have done this, he's actually, and the Curacao player, and then you build a story about the game, picking out unique bits, as any newspaper does, as any BBC sort of preamble does. And then you put, the difference here is you put those kind of things, because we can now do player shots, player tackles, offsides, fouls won. You can actually build the story but actually put a price behind it.
I can actually see it now in my head. So you do one of those. I wouldn't write it. I'd make a video, and you do like one of those clips compilations of, let's say it's a tackle, and you just, it's a tackle, like whatever player is going to be tackling, and it's just like compilation of them, just like tackle, right? And then there's the odds, and you put some fucking great music behind it, and then you've probably seen the ones like there's like the famous Roy Keane's, like there's someone the other day was like Roy Keane just being Roy Keane on the pitch, and just had a really good soundtrack, and you just totally got into it of like, yeah, go on, fucking get him, right? Or Vinnie Jones doing, wild Vinnie Jones stuff. And you could make a really great, but you could also tee it up in a way where it just feels inevitable that, of course, this guy's going to tackle and make a great tackle, or shots on goal or whatever. Just look at what he normally does. And so that'll be interesting to see, because particularly with, obviously the World Cup is a more mass market betting opportunity as well. You get a lot of casuals in who aren't maybe hardcore into football, but will put money on the World Cup or kind of get into it. And so the more you can just make it entertainment and quick, because I think attention spans have definitely shrunk since the last World Cup.
Yes.
By far. You could actually have a lot of fun with that. That'd be fucking great. I can just see it in my head now. I know exactly how to do it. It's great.
So the attention span thing, I mean, what you'll see that you wouldn't have seen probably even 4 years ago will be the emergence of flash markets. And it comes back to your concentration thing. So there'll be like, what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes? What's going to happen in the next 15 minutes? What's going to happen in the next 2 minutes? And those kind of, there's a casino element there. There's a game element that sort of combines the two verticals, and you'll see a lot of that on the sports book.
How would you, like, from a technical perspective, like, is that like pre-decided? Is it done in the moment? Like, okay, this match we need to do something, or we think this is ripe, or how would you set that up?
Flash bets are, done. You need to understand what's happened to a point to know what's, to figure that in. But a lot of it can be set up before. And then the biggest issue with those markets are latency within the streams. So if you're too fast, so if you're the provider of those prices and you're too fast, then the customer can never get the bet on, because the customer's watching something that's more delayed than you. So you almost have to work in advance of it and say what's going to happen in the next, from this game minute to this game minute, what's going to happen, and that sort of equalises it then for the customer, because the latency is if you're doing it truly live, it's very very difficult for the customers globally to have the same latency stream as what the providers will have.
Yeah, of course. That's an interesting one. And then I suppose the apart from attention spans, obviously prediction markets are a thing now as well.
They are a thing. Not a betting thing though. Well, not in the US. I think the UK have come out and said these are definitely betting markets. Prediction markets are. Whilst everyone's concerned about cannibalisation of within regulated states, and we're talking about America really here, the other side of the coin is, in my opinion, what these markets are doing is almost doing your education for prospective punters should the state eventually regulate sports betting. So it's a huge drive to this is what can happen. This is what happens with, we don't want to call it betting, we call it what you want, trading contracts. It's clearly a betting move. So I think it's not all negative for the industry in terms of bringing people up to speed with what gambling is essentially, and how easy it can be done, and what how safe it can be. But and I say safe in terms of your money's secure, not in terms of it's risk free. But yeah, it's a huge controversy with the two main, or all of the prediction markets in the US, and I don't think anything's going to change while the current presidency is in place, because it absolutely favours the federal government to have these markets available that are governed by the CTFC, because all of the money that the prediction markets platforms pay to be licensed, that goes directly to federal coffers. So
That's
Trump and
interesting.
his
I hadn't
gang
thought of that.
can access that money instantly, whereas with regulated sports betting, it's obviously on a state by state basis, and the money gained goes into the state, which
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
escapes the federal coffers. So I
Huh.
think that's a huge factor in why these have been let to go without so much of a
That's very interesting, and I had not heard that point before.
yeah. Makes sense if you think about it in that way. But the support from the federal government for, let's be honest, it's a betting thing. Some of the stuff you can bet on is, or you can use in a prediction market, is not a financial instrument. It is not a hedging tool. So to let that go as it is, it has to benefit someone somewhere, and that's my view on it. But I don't know if you saw one of the prediction markets operators in the last few weeks have been offering, I don't know how long the market's been open, but there's will there be a second coming?
After, yeah.
Fintan was trying to get me to bet on that last week.
Well, that market is now up to, I saw yesterday, was up to, yes, almost being 5% chance.
But have you seen the? I'll let you
Yeah.
go on. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, so the reason for that is because there was another market which said, will the second coming market reach yes 5%? So it's completely, so the argument of the prediction markets outfits to say, oh, these are measuring, with accuracy what people's opinions are, and this, that's completely false there, because you're completely artificially building that market because there's something to be gained from doing so. Absolutely ridiculous.
And then I was reading a really good email about it, and they were explaining, like, basically it's ripe for market manipulation. Like, basically there's some participants going, we know this is being manipulated, and we know that when it hits 5, there's like, it has to be like at 5% for 30 minutes or whatever the time period is, for that we know we've got a forced buyer at any price because of the secondary market type thing. So everybody's in on the game, and it's just a game of musical chairs of, like, how does this that was fascinating. And I suppose, like, when you look at, so obviously we just had the Super Bowl, like the volume of trading on these markets for the Super Bowl was substantial.
Yes. But the Super Bowl was in California, right? So California's a non-regulated on the sports betting market. So it makes sense. I have a friend in San Francisco. He said, "Oh, what do you think about the Super Bowl?" He's not really into sports. I said, "Oh, blah blah." He says, "Oh," and he sent me a screenshot of his bet on the prediction market. And I said, he said to me, "It's a ridiculous loophole that I can do this."
But you think that wouldn't have happened if it was somewhere else?
I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened, but I think because you've got big states that haven't regulated, you've got California, Texas, Georgia. So,
I'm a big believer in the unregulated states driving this. But do you think because of it, California actually helped boost the prediction markets?
I would imagine so, because having it there, anyone think about it from
it's in town. It's a big party in town, right? So
it's a huge. He said that San Francisco has been amazing all week, but also if you're an operator and you take, I don't know if you can call them VIPs anymore, but some of your most valued clients to Super Bowl, how the hell do you get them to have a bet on your app? Because they can't in California. So, like a lot of FanDuel have got their own now. DraftKings have got their own. So, do you push them to bet on your prediction markets because that's what they can do? Because they can't access the app.
Yeah, of course.
It's an interesting one. So, having the Super Bowls in non-regulated states, it's a massive win for prediction markets. Yeah, and of course you see all the 3 million app downloads. Well, yeah, and of course it's going to be so many more than DraftKings or FanDuel or Fanatics, because people who are betting with those have already got those apps. They're not going to download them again. I find that rather an astonishingly misleading figure. Oh, there are so many more app downloads. Well, of course they have, because no one had it last year.
Yeah, I like that's, and like people have been downloading the DraftKings app since the DFS days, right? So it's well, and I did think it was interesting how quickly DraftKings and FanDuel started launching their own, because you could see the penny dropping of like, oh, they're about to do to us what we did with DFS. If we're not careful, there's
absolutely an element of that. But also, if you think about it from a customer acquisition point of view, it means you can go out and market your brand and your logo and everything within non-regulated states, right? So
which then fixes a lot of the TV buying and stuff. Like you can just do nationwide, or your media buying actually gets a lot easier. And it definitely solves a lot of problems. But I think as well, what's interesting with obviously there's the gambling element, the sports betting element of the prediction markets, but it's also effectively a huge amount of novelty markets, right? So the storytelling and the marketing around the novelty stuff, even the Jesus thing is like, it's a great story. Is it going to rain? Politics betting, like the politics betting on its own is pretty huge.
Well, didn't we have on Rob Ferber?
We did. Our Eurovision specialist
essentially makes a living from betting on Eurovision, and that's the only place he's going to be doing that, isn't it? And that's what he was talking. He was talking about, you got to wait for the market to build, got to wait for this, and the experience of striking when the time is right. It was really interesting.
Eurovision has always been, and it's a remarkable outlier. Eurovision has always been an incredibly buoyant sports betting market. And I remember sat reading a post 20 years ago, and in the Racing Post, you'd have a 2-page spread for Eurovision finals. It's that big an interest. But now with prediction markets as well, it adds another element to what you can do, I guess.
We'll need to set one up for the next book awards.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I'll probably be the only one that knows who the actual winner is. And when there's a flurry of bets from Ludlow, Shropshire, they'll see right through me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just coming back to Fintan, to your point on narratives within prediction markets, I don't know if either of you have seen Polymarket Sports Instagram feed.
My 14-year-old son has told me about their social media account and how good it is.
Absolutely wild. But it's you cannot claim that is for a financial instrument. It's Daily Inquirer stuff. So you've got a sensationalist piece and all these photographs, and then girlfriend photographs. Oh, and his girlfriend again, bikini, and then there'll be, and you can bet on this market, and it's wild. I can't.
Yeah, it's look it. Yeah. It's one of those, let's make as much money as we can while we can. And hopefully we're too big. And if we take on enough powerful investors, we'll get away with it somehow.
And they're doing a good job of that, yeah.
It's a real, I would love to have the fucking neck to try that.
Money.
It's just great.
I'd love to have the money.
I think it's a confidence thing. I don't think it's a money thing.
Yeah, it's you got to be pretty ballsy.
It's really feel like just the confidence. We'll just make as much money as we can. We just see what happens. And if we're more confident than anybody else, maybe we can get away with it.
The other wild thing is, I don't know if you saw this week, one of the big NBA, they're all big. One of the big NBA players had signed up as a shareholder with Kalshi. Like, they made this big splash.
Yeah, it's the superstar with the Greek name, isn't it?
Yes.
And I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Well, I can't.
But he literally has a big name, but he is one of the 5 biggest names in NBA.
Huge star, yeah.
So
how does that? He can. I mean, why would he? Right? Doesn't need the money.
They've said he's not allowed to gamble on any games he's involved in.
Doesn't matter. It's not gambling.
Or he's not a whatever. He's not a
Not allowed to take contracts.
Sure, but it's not. Yeah, and sure, but it's not really. It's the image, I think, or the perceived image. Like if you're a punter in Connecticut and you want to bet on the NBA or the team he's playing against, then you know he's involved. Even though it's absolutely ridiculous that he would necessarily need to do anything in any way untoward. Just the whole concept, you wouldn't have that necessarily with sports.
But look, he would have access to inside information, right?
Of course.
So from an exchange, I believe both of these exchanges have their own in-house trading teams. Like they've got their little subsidiaries where they're doing their own market making, as well as the professional firms and stuff they brought in. So he does have access to inside information. He's incentivized through shareholdings if this company makes money.
Yeah. And
given somebody the nod that he's injured, is, plenty of people have made a living off that. It's that simple.
So yeah, I don't know quite. Like you say, I think it's a case of let's do it all now while no one's actually looking too hard at us, and then we'll worry about the fallout later.
We've got 2 years. Let's go. Fair enough. It's a business model.
My God, I think they've done pretty well out of it,
But this is the thing, right? I think, and it'd be interesting because obviously, like from a markets perspective, we've seen this with Betfair, we've seen it with poker, where you've got one side of the market is very sophisticated, and then the other side of the market is like random punters.
Yeah.
And am I going to outtrade you? Absolutely not, right? Am I going to outtrade a Susquehanna or a Citadel or any of these like fucking masters of the universe type firms that do this day in, day out? Not a chance. So this works until the fish run out.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. It's a very salient point. It's always someone else's lunch you're eating because with these peer-to-peer sort of networks. So how long are people willing to lose money? And when the majority of people, how long are the majority of individuals happy to just let someone take their money? That's what's happening.
And I think that's an interesting dynamic. And then obviously for the exchange, they're taking, effectively a rake. So, you'll end up with the Betfair scenario where, there was people trading on Betfair making more money than Betfair. Right? Yeah. So how does
then you have a premium charge,
and then you have premium charge, and everything explodes, and it all becomes a thing. So, like, do you think there's a way they can navigate this?
I'm sure they're telling their investors they can.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I think it's just a case of I genuinely don't know enough about the mechanics behind all of the different markets, but for me, it seems like it's improbable that they would be able to continue to certainly to grow at the rates that we're seeing right now. But in order to keep some of the lesser markets with enough liquidity to be worthy, and then like you say, all of the big fish have got to eat somewhere, right? And all they're eating is the little fish, but the little fish are very numerous in size, but will get bored of this.
Yeah.
So, and let's be honest, betting on a two-way contract is not fun. It's not fun like building an SGP is.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near like the kind of top-tier experience you get from using a DraftKings sportsbook app. And then, you've got other considerations there, I guess, in the States regarding accounting, personal accounting, finance, that kind of thing, because it's a CTFC regulated product and not a entertainment or
so there's taxes,
sports betting related product. So I don't know enough about that either, but there's lots of things to come out. At the moment, it is the Wild West.
Yeah.
And it is, let's just do what we can now and
Well, this is the thing. Like, plenty of people made like a lot of money in the poker boom, right? So it's not like it's not. It's a good thing until it's not.
and at the moment it's got the green light from the highest powers in the US. So
Crack on.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. So I need to go and feed my youngest child because he's just appeared at the bottom of the stairs going, Dad, I'm hungry. And I got to get these contact lenses out of my eyes because everything's going a bit blurry.
No, just close your left eye, John. It's fine. You're closing the wrong one. Your brain will figure it out.
I'm not a fucking optician, Fintan.
I think I'm
Maybe
better
you
than
just
your
take
optician.
them out, your brain will figure out how to see again.
Just
Well, I
don't
was
make me do
thinking,
that again.
isn't this like an eye workout? Are they going to say, like, look at some big heavy books with your left eye for a week? And when you take it out, you'd be like, my eye will be pumped. I'll be doing before and afters of my eyes. I'll be out here. They'll be ripped. But by the time I next see you, Fintan, I will in fact be ripped.
Great.
Possibly in the sense of being torn. Possibly
Valentine's plans, do you?
possibly being buff. I don't know. Well, that's only a couple of days away, isn't it, really? On the day of recording. So I hope you both have a nice Valentine's Day. It's exciting.
Oh, thanks.
It's okay. I'll be spending mine beating the children. Good times. Making memories. Here you are, kids. You won't forget this. Just kidding. Obviously. I hope. It's obvious, isn't it?
It's obvious.
Oh well, not that obvious, but
I know you. I know it's the last thing you do.
Maybe second to
You love
last.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, not Valentine. I'd wait until probably the day after.
yeah, you're not a monster.
Too much chocolate to eat.
Exactly. Kids, where's my gifts? But Dad, it's Valentine's Day. Don't you give them to your significant other? You're grounded. Get over here.
Told you not to say that.
Right. Jeevan, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks so much, mate.
It's been a pleasure and an education, and I leave the conversation thinking slightly differently to how I did when I joined it, and not just because Fintan thinks my optician is shite. She's not. She's very nice.
Well, look, I think your optician is shite, but I now agree with your views on the World Cup. So,
It's like that.
I
Right.
just needed somebody else to tell me.
That's it. Like, so years ago, right?
I can understand that.
Years ago,
It's like domestic.
my
Done this for years.
no,
He's
seriously,
right, isn't it?
years ago, my ex and mother of my children, Fern. I mean, she still is an extraordinary runner. And she'd be like, oh, I don't know what to do about this, or yeah, should I do this? And I give her some advice, some born from experience, some born from all of the reading I've done on the subject. And she'd go, yeah, that does make sense. And then she'd not do it for 6 months. And then 6 months later, she'd do it and go, hey, you know what? You were right about the thing. I'm like, I know. Anyway, we go to the running show at the NEC, right? And we were talking to some company that was, I think, interested in sponsoring her or something. And this guy, they were an organizer of ultra marathons. And they were like, we'd really like you to come and run some of our races. And Fern was talking to him about training and stuff. And she just said to him, so John says, blah, 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 blah. And the bloke just said, well, I think he's talking a lot of sense and you should probably listen to him. And she was just gobsmacked that this guy who is in fact a fully qualified ultramarathon coach was just saying, he's right. Do that. And this feels quite similar, Fintan, frankly.
I'm glad.
Because she did say, at the time, yes, I obviously had to hear it from somebody that wasn't you.
Well, look, it's also important to keep in mind about all the other stuff you say, right? So we can't just cherry pick this one example.
We can totally 100% cherry pick this one thing. Fintan, otherwise I get no wins.
That's true. That's
None.
true. John was right. Fintan was wrong.
Let
Absolutely.
me have this, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. I appreciate you, Fintan. Jeevan, thank you very much for joining us and for convincing Fintan that my way is the only way.
Well, I didn't really do that. I don't think you're probably right on the majority of things, and I think that's probably where Fintan's built up his concerns.
I'm going to edit this bit out. This bit will not be appearing on the podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Gambling Files podcast, please find us on LinkedIn. Give us a big, juicy, succulent like. That nearly went wrong. You can find us under the name The Gambling Files Podcast. You can find us on Twitter under The Gambling Files. I think the handle is just @GamblingFiles. You can connect to myself, John Bruford, or Fintan Costello, also on LinkedIn. We're also both on Twitter. And you can find all of our previous episodes at www.thegamblingfiles.com. If you enjoyed it, please share, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, and we'll see you next time.